Hello students, welcome to today's chemistry class. I am V. Ragasumma. Today I am going to explain you about gas liquid chromatography. Gas liquid chromatography is a subclass of gas chromatography. So in this gas chromatography, it is currently the one most widely it is used, and it's a powerful tool for the separation of the complex mixtures in the compounds. This is because the technique possesses different characteristics of the high speed, extreme sensitivity, high resolving power. Now let us see about the gas liquid chromatography. So it is a technique to separate, identify components of the chemical compounds using in the gaseous mobile phase. So actually this is the subclass. It has emerged from the gas chromatography, subclass of the gas chromatography. This chromatography, it is currently one of the most widely used and the powerful technique for separation of the components. The separation of the components in the mixture of the compounds. So it's high speed, extreme sensitivity, high resolving power. Almost all these are the good characteristics for this gas liquid chromatography. For example, it is possible to separate all the 10 isomers for heptane in less than 10 seconds. Example, how with speed we can explain by taking an example. 10 isomers of the heptane, they can be separated within less than 10 seconds. And amounts of as small as 10 to the power of minus 14 grams can be detected by using the suitable detectors. So the gas chromatography, it can be divided into gas liquid chromatography, gas solid chromatography, GLC, GSC. And most popular and the wide range of applications are there for the GLC. GLC will see the principle. So before going to that, we'll see the principle. In GLC, the components of the vaporized samples are fractionated due to partition between a gaseous mobile phase and a liquid stationary phase in the column. The stationary phase is non-volatile liquid. It is held as a thin layer on the solid support like diatomaceous earth. Its principle, it's completely based on the partition. So gas liquid chromatography consists of mobile phase, stationary phase. The liquid phase is supported by inert solid phase. I'm repeating, GLC, it consists of a mobile phase and a stationary liquid phase. Okay, so the mobile phase and the stationary liquid phase. The liquid phase, it is supported by inert solid phase or the walls of the capillary tube. The sample mixture in gaseous form is run through the column using an inert carrier gas. Separation of components in the gaseous sample mixture, it can be achieved by differences in distribution ratio of components in the sample. So that distribution of the components in the sample, it is between the mobile gas phase and the stationary liquid phase. Okay, here the main principle, separation of the components in the gaseous sample mixture, you can do it by the difference in the distribution, here the distribution partition. So it can be, the separation can be achieved by the differences in the distribution ratio of components in the sample between the mobile phase, that is the gas, and the stationary phase, which is the liquid. And it causes the components to move through the column with different retention times. Through the column with different retention times. The sample components are detected at the column, they are detected at the column, exit using the suitable detector. The diagram, basic diagram I'll show, and instrumentation I'll explain in detail. It consists of the carrier gas. Principle we have understood. What is liquid chromatography? Gas liquid chromatography. and the principle behind the gas liquid chromatography also explained. Now we'll see the instrumentation. Tank of the carrier gas. Tank of the carrier gas is one of the component in the instrumentation, and for flow regulator and the flow meter, which governs the flow rate. Injection port for the sample injection. Column where it passes on and gets separated the mixture, and temperature is controlled. Temperature control device is there. You can even see the detector, microprocessor, recorder. All these come under the instrumentation. So this GLC instrumentation. Now we'll see the flow chart, the diagram of the gas liquid chromatography. So here, the first I have told you, carrier gas tank, then flow regulators, then sample injection chamber, oven to control the temperature. It's all kept in the oven, thermostat. This one it's kept in the oven. Then the column is a column detector. Until detection is done, it is kept in the thermostat. So here, column, the thermostat, okay, and then detector when this is at the thermostat, and then flow meter. After detection, it goes out, and then detector, whatever is detected, the data system will receive, and thereby the display system. Okay, so carrier gas, gas regulators, the flow regulators, and then sample injection port. Also the reference flow meter will be there for some of the instruments. All these go through the column and the sample detector. So after passing on the sample detector, here the reference detector is there and the sample detectors will be there here. If a reference is there, then the reference flow meter is there, then the reference detector you can see. If it is the sample only flows, then the sample flow meter, sample detector will be there. These both of them go to the bridge detectors. After that, amplifier, then recorder display. Okay, so bridge, amplifier, and recorder. So this is the schematic diagram for the instrumentation of the GLC. Now in detail, I'm going to explain you the process of the GLC. Here you can see very simple diagram. So in that simple diagram, you can see the carrier gas, okay, the sample injector going into the column. Everything is in the sample injector going into the column. This is the carrier gas, regulators, and again the sample is injected. This is complete column. This is the detector kept in the thermostat. Okay, oven in the thermostat they're kept, and again detector detects. After that, display here that whatever it's going, that is getting displayed. Your data system and then display. Data system and the display. Now we'll see the complete process. So first explaining the diagram, then we'll see the which type of mobile phase, which type of stationary phase we'll see. First in this process, you have seen the instrumentation. The sample containing the solid solutes injected, the sample that is conducting, that is the sample containing the solid solutes, it is injected into the heating block oven. The solid solutes in the sample are immediately vaporized. Yeah, because it is getting into the oven, here they are getting vaporized. This vapor mixture is formed in the process is carried out as a plug of vapor by the carrier gas. Here you're having the carrier gas. Its flow rate is controlled by the flow regulators. These flow regulators allow the sample that is in the vapor state to flow in the form of steam into the column inlet. Okay. The sample, whatever is there, it is injected here oven. It is a heating block. The solid solutes are again here immediately they are vaporized, and this whatever is vaporized, this carrier gas with the flow rate, they get carried, they come into the chamber, sample injection chamber, where you're having the vapor substances, vapor sample you'll be having. This vapor sample is carried out by the carrier gas in the form of steam into the column inlet. The solutes in the vapor state, the solutes in the vapor state are absorbed at the head of the column by stationary phase. At the stationary phase, these are then destroyed by fresh carrier gas. These are then destroyed by fresh carrier gas. Each component solute travels at its own rate through column, leading to the resolution of the bands. Okay? So the solutes in the vapor state are absorbed at the head of the column by stationary phase. These are then destroyed by fresh carrier gas. Each component travels at its own rate through the column, leading to resolution band. Again, partition, they get partitioned according to their speed. The extent of the resolution, it depends on the distribution ratios. Partition and the distribution ratios. Finally, they enter into the detector. It is attached at the exit of the column. It is attached at the exit of the column. The individual components of the mixture register a series of signals as a function of their concentration and elution rates. Different parts of the apparatus. Now, what are that are used? Mobile phase, stationary phase, we'll see in detail. The parts are nothing but the carrier gas, which is supplied by the cylinder, sample injection systems, which we are using, which type we are using, separating column, stationary support systems in GLC, and the detectors we'll see. Mobile phase, it is the carrier gas you can tell. It is fixed in the cylinders. Here you can see, this is the mobile phase, it is the carrier gas. It is fixed in the cylinders. An inert gas such as helium or the nitrogen function is to transport sample vapors through the column. An inert gas such as helium or nitrogen, the function it is to transport sample vapors through column. So no chemical interaction with the sample should take place. No chemical reaction should take place with the sample. The mobile phase carrier gas should not react with the sample. There shouldn't be any chemical reaction. Inert gases, for that inert nature, they don't react. So generally we prefer the inert gases because they don't react. Helium, nitrogen. Their function is just to transport the sample vapors to column. Just to transport the sample. Okay, mobile phase, carrier phase, that get the transport. Now the column inlet pressure, you're having the control here. Regulators, flow regulators. These flow regulators, column inlet pressure should be 10 to 50 psi. Next, flow rate, it should be 25 to 50 ml per minute, the packed column. Okay, got it now? These are the parameters. So attaching the tube outlet of the column. Here, attaching that column, you can get. So this mobile phase, yeah, this mobile phase, it is getting. Okay. Yeah, carrier gas going to the regulators. Yeah, that is the mobile phase of inert nature, no chemical interaction, and the function is to transport the sample vapors. The typical parameters are nothing but 10 to 5 psi. Okay, pound force per square inch. Next, flow rate 25 to 50 milliliters per minute. The packed volume. Such a less quantity it should carry. Now the sample injection port. Yeah, the sample injection port. We have seen about the mobile phase. We have seen about the mobile phase and the flow regulators. Now sample injection port. Sample is injected here through the syringes, through the syringes. Yeah, into the flow stream. You can see, yeah, through the syringes. You're having the septum, and then a sample is injected through the syringe put into the flow stream and the hot mobile phase. The temperature at least 550 degrees above the boiling point of the sample. It causes the vaporization. The sample as it is injected, it goes into the this sample chamber, sample injection port, and it goes into the column. First the sample injected through the syringe, flowing stream or hot mobile phase, and this hot mobile phase, already the sample, it is in the oven and it is getting vaporized. High temperatures are maintained. Vaporization is caused and introduces through the narrow plug of the sample vapor into the column. Various, here it designs the packed column, inject 1 to 5 micro ml of the sample. For capillary columns, a split valve is used to introduce small fraction of the sample into column. For capillary columns, yeah, a split valve is used to introduce a small fraction of the sample. For type of the columns, we use different ways. Sample sometimes syringes, sometimes capillary columns. The packed columns, you can inject 1 to 5 micro ml of the sample. And if for packed columns, you inject so much, 1 to 5 micro ml of the sample. If it is a capillary column, a split valve is used to introduce small fraction of the sample onto the column. Okay, so the sample injection using the syringe, it flows through, it flows along with the hot mobile phase. In the sample, it converts into vapor and it goes into the column along with the mobile phase. So the columns, yeah, these columns are of different types. Packed column, you'll be having capillary column. Depending upon the type of the column, this whatever sample is injected, converted to vapor, combined with the mobile gas phase, it comes into these columns, and it can be packed column or the capillary column. Okay, so column, it is the heart of the GC. Why? Because this column, it is the heart of the gas liquid chromatography or any other chromatographies, because if the actual separation takes place, the separation efficiency and the resolving, everything takes place only in the column. Our ambition is to separate and it takes place in the column. So it is the heart of the column. So it decides the separation efficiency. It is made of glass or copper. The column is made of the glass or the copper. Columns are again of two types based on their uses. Analytical column, preparative. 1 to 2 meters, generally it should be long for better separation. So length is 1 to 2 meters out diameters, and here the diameter 3 to 6 millimeters. Length 1 to 2 meters, outer diameter 3 to 6 millimeters. And the preparative column, it should be generally 3 to 6 meters. And the outer diameter is 6 to 9 diameters. It depends. For analysis, you do this, and for this preparative columns, this should be the dimensions. As I have told you, you are having the packed column and the capillary column. In the capillary column, again further you are having micro packed column, open tubular column, wall coated open tubular column, VCOT column, porous layer open tubular column, plot, support coated open tubular column, SCOT. So open tubular again 3 types. Okay, but so much depth just for information I'm giving you. Columns here. Here, packed column, capillary column. Packed column and the capillary column. Again in the capillary column, you are having micro-packed, open tubular column. Micro-packed column, open tubular column. Again this open tubular column, wall-coated open tubular column, porous layer open tubular column, supported coated open tubular column. You can see the diagrams here. This is the packed column. Diatomaceous earth, it's a good inert support material in the packed column. And the support, it is coated with a thin layer of stationary phase. This is again then packed into the glass or the metal tube. Now, capillary column, the thin layer of the non-volatile stationary phase. Quote here, polydimethyl silicone. It is good retaining power and separation of the non-polar solutes with its boiling point. This is a capillary column. So this is a packed column and this is the capillary column. Now we'll see the detectors, which is the main one for us. So till now we have seen the different parts. Carrier gas cylinder supplies, they contain helium, nitrogen, hydrogen or argon. They should be pure, trap used in their mouths. This trap contains molecular sieves. They remove the hydrocarbon impurities and water vapor. And the trap of the liquid nitrogen is used. After that, see carrier gas. Helium, nitrogen, hydrogen, argon are used and they should be pure. A trap is used at the mouth. A molecular sieve is there for purity, pure one can be trapped. And this removes the hydrocarbon impurities and water impurities. We get the pure inert gas. After that, that goes on with their respective flow rate, and then sample is injected into the system, and this vaporization takes place at the vaporization. And after that, it's moved onto the columns. The liquid mixtures are introduced with the micro syringes with the needle inserted with the silicone rubber. Gaseous samples are injected into the gastric cylinder. Now they go into the separating columns. We have seen the capillary column and the packed column. So the separating column or the packed column, these will be in the wide range shapes and the sizes. Various types we have seen the capillary in the packed. Next 2 meters, the dimensions also explained for you. They are of the stainless steel for hydrocarbons and non-polar substances, glass for sensitive complex, steroid separation, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, glass columns are used. Teflon columns for reactive system like sulfur gases, aluminium for high temperature applications, fused silica for capillary columns. Now, the stationary support also we have to see. So stationary support, before detectors, I should give you a brief review. Here the slide is not there, but after column, just what is the here column I have explained you. After this column, in this column, about the stationary phase I am going to explain, then we'll go for the detectors. So stationary support for the GLC is generally, it is cell algae you can take, key cell ghar you can take, graphitized carbon, halocarbons, polymeric resins we can take, glass beads we can take. Such type of different solid support, stationary support we can take in the GLC. So according to their polarity, they will be selecting polar liquids from hydrogen, least polar, interacting with van der Waals forces. All these we prefer the different solid supports. So solid support in the for the columns. Okay, got it? Sample injection, flow rate, and carrier gas, flow rate, and the sample injectors we have seen. After that, we have seen the columns, packed or the capillary columns. In this columns, which type of stationary phase should be there? Also explain. Now we'll go for the detectors. So generally, electrical signal proportional to the solute concentration or the mass flow rate. So the ideal characters are the detector should have high sensitivity, low volume of the carrier gas. It should have low volume of the carrier gas, rapid response time, non-destructive technique. It should be applicable to wide range of samples. It should be easy to use. It should be stable, predictable response. Okay. Now, in these gas chromatographic detectors, one is a flame ionization detector. Generally, hydrocarbons will be used. Okay. Thermal conductivity detectors, universal detector. Okay, the type thermal conductivity detector, the samples are the universal. You can take any one. For this, you can any type of sample. Electron capture detectors, halogenated compounds will be detected in this. Electron capture halogenated, mass spectra tunable for any species by taking the M/Z ratio. The term ionic, nitrogen and the phosphorus components, electrolytic conductivity, compounds containing the halogen, sulfur, or the nitrogens. Such type compounds can be detected in the electrolytic conductor. Photoionization, compounds ionized by the UV radiation can be detected in the photoionization. Fourier transform IR, organic compounds can be detected. Next, thermal conductivity detector. In detail, we'll see about some of the detectors. Okay, so this is the general view for the detectors. So some of the flame, first I'm going to explain you about the flame ionization detector. It consists of oxy-hydrogen flame in which the eluted sample is burnt. Hydrogen gas, first here this flame ionization detector consists of oxy-hydrogen flame in which eluted sample is burnt. Hydrogen burns first, produces high temperature, 2000 degrees centigrade, causes ionization of the solute, and these are collected in the electrodes and resulting ionic current is measured. The compounds which cannot be detected by the ionization detector are hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, water, sulfur dioxide, CO, CS2, NH3, NO, and water, etc. Now, how the thermal conductivity was seen. So thermal conductivity detector, the element is essentially heated at constant temperature, constant power. The temperature depends upon the thermal conductivity of the, it depends upon the thermal conductivity of surrounding gas. It measures the conductivity with respect to the reference. When any light comes off, the filament temperature goes up, the resistance goes down. In that way, the thermal conductivity detector will function. Flame ionization detector I have explained you. Column effluent is passed through H2 gas flame, produces ions and electrons. The charged species are accelerated by voltage applied between the jet and the collector, and this results in the current. Number of ions depends upon the number of reduced carbons in molecule. One molecule of ethane gives twice the signal of one molecule of methane. Less sensitive to non-hydrocarbon carbons, this one. And it is insensitive, I told you, water, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, so on. SiCl4, CO, CS2, so on. Carbon monoxide, ammonia, nitrogen monoxide. So it is very insensitive, less sensitive to hydrocarbons. So we have seen the thermal conductivity detector, flame ionization detector. Now we'll see the electron capture detector. So the electron capture detector, it is based on the changes in the electrical conductivity of gases in ionization chamber. It is caused by the presence of electron capture molecules. This device, it is used for detection of measurement of trace environmental pollutants. It is sensitive for halogenated compounds. Hence, it is used for detection of herbicides, pesticides, sulfur hexafluoride, organometallics, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and so on. It is passing through the beta emitter and results in the ionization and the electron production. It produces the current between the electrodes. In presence of other compounds, electrons are captured and causing decrease in current. Most commonly used for halogenated organics. Okay, so that is the way we can use this electron capture detector. Now we'll see the nitrogen phosphorus detector, how it functions. Nitrogen phosphorus detector mechanism: compounds are burnt in a plasma surrounding rubidium bead supplied with hydrogen and air. Nitrogen phosphorus containing compounds produce ions that are attached to the collector. The number of ions hitting the collector is measured and a signal is generated. Now, sensitivity 1 to 10 per gram. A selectivity nitrogen phosphorus containing compounds can be used in this detector. Gases, that is combustion hydrogen and helium, the temperature is 250 to 300 degrees centigrade. The recorder, strip chart recorder is used in GLC. Yeah. Now, applications we'll see. Later on, advantages we'll see. Okay, so first the advantages are it is used in the qualitative and quantitative analysis. Instrument, it is simple and the type of analysis is not short. High sensitivity is there and it is high speed. The method is applicable for about 60% of the organic compounds. Very small sample sizes can be used. Analysis can be highly accurate and precise. So, factors that affect the GLC separation: particle size and the surface area, a carrier gas flow rate, and the type and the amount of stationary phase, column length, column diameter, column temperature. All these govern the separation in the GLC. Coming to the applications, the qualitative information. Identity of the eluted solutes may be based on the retention. Spectral information obtained for the eluted peak. Quantitative information is based on the peak areas. Isolation, detection of the drugs or the metabolites in the urine, plasma, serum. Analysis of the petroleum products, gasoline, waxes, etc. can be analyzed. Determining various cosmetics and perfumes can also be done using the GLC. So the isolation for the drugs and the metabolites in the urine, plasma, serum. If petroleum products like gasoline, waxes can be analyzed. Cosmetics and the perfumes can be analyzed. Also the pesticides, identification of the plastics and the determination of the esters, copolymers can be achieved in this GLC. So determination of the water in the creams, ointments, pastes, and the normalization. All these come under the applications for GLC. Forensic applications we'll see. Analysis of the bodily fluids, semen, urine to test the illegal substances. Test fibers, blood recovered at the crime scene. Okay. Detect residue from explosives, ignitable fluids, presence of the accelerants. Such type of forensic applications are also achieved. Now, one more very important technique, the advanced technique for the gas chromatography is gas chromatography. It is hyphenated with the mass spectroscopy. So GCMS, hyphenated technique. It is now the later, and this is the advanced one we are using. A powerful analytical tool, it's combining. It's a powerful analytical tool combining. You can see here mass, GLC separation, and this is analysis, MBISET, using the MBISET values. Using this powerful analytical hyphenated technique on combination, we get high resolution gas chromatography. So mass spectrometric detection can be done. Qualitative identification of the solutes and high sensitivity can be achieved. Here the same, you can see the instrumentation, carrier gas inlet, injection port, fused silica GC column. Okay, this is the oven. Okay. Here you don't have the detector. See, this is all the GC, gas chromatography. Carrier gas, sample injection, oven. Then immediately you'll be having actually detector you should have. In place of this detector, it is connected to MS. Here, this line. Okay, so instead of detector, data, uh, uh, you don't get the recorder, no detector and the no recorder. Directly it is linked to the MS, mass spectrometry. Ion source, as it's coming out here with the ion source, it is converted into the ions, and the M by Z values are analyzed here, and the electron multiplier, it multiplies, and now the data system, it comes to the data system, a recorder, and then display. You'll be getting the peaks. This is more sensitive, more advanced to get the high resolution gas chromatography. Okay, I hope everybody have understood my class. So once again, I'm just repeating what we have discussed in today's class. So gas chromatography, gas liquid chromatography. The second gas chromatography, you're having the gas liquid chromatography, the principle behind this one, and the instrumentation parts with the instrumentation and the parts in the instrumentation, how the process is taking place we have seen, and then which type of mobile phase is used, and which type of the sample, how the samples are injected, how they're converted into papers, and how they're carried to the columns. And the columns you're having packed columns and the capillary columns, and the types of the packed and the capillary columns you have seen. And in this columns, I have explained you about the stationary phases that we are using. Different stationary phases that are used in the column we have discussed. Later on about the detectors characteristics and different detectors for the analysis of GLC, thermal conductivity detector, flame ionization detector, electron capture detector, nitrogen phosphorus detector. And after discussing this basic principle of these detectors, how they are working, then comes the recorder. After that, what are the advantages of the GLC and what are the factors that are affecting the separation in the GLC, and what are the different applications in the qualitative, quantitative analysis, and in the forensic, what are the applications, and what is the hyphenated technique for the gas chromatography, that is GCMS we have seen. I hope everybody have understood today's session. So if any doubts, once again, if you go through, you can understand. Once again, if you listen to the class, you can understand more better. Thank you, everybody. By this, I end my session. Okay. So before ending, I should give you some summary. Gas chromatography, yeah, separation, which we have discussed. It is applicable to the volatile compounds. Retention depends upon the temperature and the solute interactions with the phase, stationary phase. For a successful GC, sample volatility, stability important, precise control of the flow rate, and appropriate injection is important. Okay, so coming to the summary, yeah, everything was explained, but just giving you the summary. So general requirements are separation in the analysis we do, application to the volatile compounds, retention, it's dependent on the temperature and the solute interactions with the stationary phase. For the successful GC, sample volatility, stability important, precise control of the carrier gas flow rate, appropriate injector design and injection technique, selection of appropriate column type, geometry, stationary phase, precise control of the column oven temperature. These are the good requirements for the successful GC. Thank you, everybody. I end my session. I end my today's session. I hope everybody have understood. Thank you.